Hello there, you is listening to the Nerdy KP podcast. I is your host, KP. Now, in today's episode, continuing the subject from last week, which is live action remakes, I will be reviewing the live action Lilo and Stitch, okay? Which I talked about a little bit over there. So, in this review, it's going to be spoilers. It's going to be a full-blown spoiler review. I'm giving away everything. I'm going in depth, and I'm going to even explain things with the director and stuff like that. So let's get on into this piece. Okay, first thing I have to say about the film is to break it down, specifically black people who ain't seen it yet, or if you have seen it, this version of Lilo and Stitch is kind of as if Tyler Perry wrote it. And I'm going to explain why. Firstly, as anyone who's ever seen a Tyler Perry movie or play knows, it really focuses on the struggle of Nani and Lilo, and them being split apart. It puts an extra load of it on it than it did in the original, and it focuses more on the struggle than the family itself, to be honest, in the fixing of the situation for Nani to keep Lilo in her custody. Okay, and another thing that made it very Tyler Perry for me is the fact that there were scenes in the film that really didn't need to happen. There was the wedding scene where Stitch laying down, he crashed the wedding. That really wasn't needed. It wasn't even. And the thing is, other than it being seen on the news early on in the film, it didn't really build anything in the story. It really was just like, bro, you could have just had it like it was in the original. And just got to, Stitch going on the road, getting hit by the... Like, it took too long to get to that. I don't know why they felt they needed to add that to it. It just didn't make sense. It really didn't really work in the favor of the film, because at the end of the day, it was just a ridiculous scene that had nothing to do with the story of the film. So, and especially, for me as a future screenwriter and writer of novels and stuff, it's like every scene I write is important. It tells a part of the story. It expands on character. And really, you could say that it expands on Stitch's destructiveness, but was it really needed? Just ask yourself that. Now, the second thing that I noted down, so I'm going notes and I got the different points in the notes. So the second note is that the director, Mr. Dean Fleischer, I think that's how it's pronounced, Dean Fleischer Camp. He's very inexperienced. This is his first theatrical film or major work on any major project. This first time he's ever worked with a major company. He has done like solo projects, like a little mini like a short film series. Now, they're not even rated because again, it's not nothing major. But with Bob Chapek greenlighting stuff, he was just enabling a lot of people with no experience who had never worked with Disney, who had never worked in anything Marvel, Star Wars, or related to any franchise within the Disney ownership of Disney, to be writers and directors on this stuff. And it was a huge mistake, and it shows. And because this man did not know how to budget the film correctly. He did not. And it shows just how he responds to the questions in interviews. And like a lot of things he said, it was cut out the budget. It really didn't make sense for it to be cut out the budget. Another thing is, and I'm going to expand on this in a minute, and basically he cut Gontu out of the film entirely. And his excuse for it is going to make a lot of people mad. I'm be honest. Okay, and another thing. For some reason, in interviews and just in the response to the fans' reactions to the film, he kept using, saying all the decisions and changes that he made were for the emotional death of Nani and Lilo. But the thing is, the film did not go any deeper emotionally, deeper in their relationship than it did in the original. Okay. Now the third thing, which is the expanding on, Gontu isn't in the movie at all. And that's because the director claimed that there were budget restraints on it, which doesn't make sense. Because what kind of budget restraint is it that you do not have any money to put the main villain of the entire Lilo and Stitch franchise in the movie? Like that's not a good excuse, because if they could fit him in the movie, in all the, the show, the TV show, animated TV show was on Disney Channel or Toon Disney. You know what I'm saying? Toon, I don't want to say it was Toon Disney. I didn't have cable at the time, so I can't really tell you. Um, he also claimed that, and I quote, Gantu was one of those elements that didn't translate well to live action. So, if anything, so you're telling me that the main villain of the entire franchise did not translate well into live action. I'm very confused on this, because he's the main villain of the franchise. Like, literally is the main villain. I don't know how to express this. He's the main villain of the franchise. So you telling me the main villain of the franchise did not translate into live action, which doesn't make any sense at all. Either is he just wanted to expand the series to something else, because it's a second film in production, if it is not shut down before they even go into pre-production. But it just didn't make sense. And he also made a statement. In that same statement, actually, he said that he cut the character. The reason why he cut Guntu out was to build the emotion depth of Nani and Lilo. Again, he used that excuse for a lot of things. What does cut? Now, again, the film did not go any deeper into their emotional relationship than it did in the original film, nor show, or anything else. So I don't even know why he keep using it as a excuse. Okay, moving on to the fourth note. Jumba's voice and character changes, which, man, I have to tell y'all, I couldn't take this version of the character seriously at all. Like, everything he said, I could not take serious. I was just watching this movie and I'm just disappointed. Just sitting there in theaters, just disappointed. Like, bro, like, what in the world, bro? Like, you can't be serious. Every line, and then the lines that they changed, I was like, bro, first of all, the dialogue that was in the original one was well enough. You don't have to add anything that's not there. I will circle back to number one at the end. But he, and without that Russian accent, I love that Russian accent. Firstly, without that Russian, and I think if the Russian accent, man, I love that Russian accent, because it kind of added to, like, it was kind of stereotypical to Russian people, but it just kind of like, okay, I can see him being an evil genius. With the new one, now I love Zach, what's his name? Because the dude from G-Force, and because he's worked with this before, G-Force. You remember the live action film? Now again, yeah, and the thing is, the dude not being a budget, he say, well, some things don't transition. Like, well, if G-Force could do what it did way back in 2009, 2008, you could do what you're supposed to do with Lilo Stitch 2025. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, but again, let me get back to not Guntu, the Jamba. So basically, they turned Jamba into Guntu 2.0. That's why I jumped ahead in my notes. But yeah, they really did. He really was basically Guntu 2.0, because they merged the characters, to be honest. And again, this is a spoiler. He shouldn't have been the main villain, because he wasn't the main villain in the original, and he turned into an anti-villain and a part of the family at the end of the first one. That didn't happen at the end of this one, because they had turned him into a full-on villain. And it was just like, why? Like, you didn't need to when we watch live action versions, we go in knowing that the ending is supposed to be the same as the animated. That's the whole point and goal of it. And yeah, that didn't happen. Okay, number 5. Note number 5. Too much focus on Nani leaving Lilo. It's too much focus on her leaving Lilo. Like, literally, they add a new character, Toot Toot, and she's encouraging Nani to leave Lilo, knowing that Lilo's whole point is to stay. Nani's whole point of going back and getting the job and figuring things out is to keep Lilo in her custody. That didn't make sense. Why would you have an elder trying to persuade you to leave your little sister who desperately, that you both need each other? You know what I'm saying? Okay, and the sole purpose, as I just said, the sole purpose for the whole movie is so for the sisters stay together. You know what I'm saying? But they kept creating situations that made no sense to be in the film to stop them from doing that. And there was a list of things that the social worker, who is played by a woman, in fact the original voice of Nani, the voice actress of Nani, she plays the social worker, and she gave a whole list. One of them was to pay the bills, was to clean the house, pay the bills, and health insurance. Now, the health insurance part didn't make sense because their parents recently died, which means they would have already had health insurance on themselves, right? That's the thing. They would already had health insurance because their parents had just recently died. That didn't make sense to put in the film, but guess what? That's a major plot point of the plot. It didn't make sense. It really didn't. But yes, the writers and directors made that a major plot point, and that really ticked me off. And I knew when they said it in the early on parts of the film that it was going to be very made a big part of the film. Okay, number 6. Okay, Jumba and Pleakley are in human form for the majority of the film. So literally in the beginning, during the CGI scene, and when they first get down to Earth, they are in their alien form. But then they go to a hotel, bump into some dudes, get their DNA, and transform into them. Dudes that look exactly like the real life actors, right? So this is literally from that point on into the very end of the movie. They do not go back into their alien forms into the very end. So I guess this goes back to what Dean said about the whole budgeting thing. So did he spend all the money on the first CGI scene, and basically the CGI stuff was Stitch? Because that seems to be, because you can't budget right if you can't get the thing. A lot of people were disappointed about the cross-dressing scene not being there with Pleakley, and he went to social media and made a post about it, basically defending his choice of not doing it. Like dude, just take the L. He keep going on social media trying to defend himself. He even did a social media post. Oh, I'm not there yet. Wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, like that was really annoying to me that Jumba and Pleakley were not their alien selves in the movies. Like, and it just, ugh. And let me just go in the fact that in this version, Pleakley is a complete idiot, and he's not as knowledgeable and as smart as he was in the film and animated series at all. Like, it was really annoying. And it's like, bro, you misrepresenting this character. They made him overly silly, which just took the funniness of the character away, and it was very disappointing. And if someone doesn't really get the point, let me tell you something. And again, Jumba, the voice, and it doesn't seem like Zach was putting his all into Jumba. Like, I guess he realized this is not gonna do well. It did good, but it did a lot of things that didn't go well with this film. But maybe if they had another voice actor, it would have been better. But yeah, it didn't. That still doesn't sit right with me. The 6th thing I will talk about is that Agent Cobra Bubbles' whole purpose in the film changed for absolutely no reason. First, I gotta say, in the original film, he was former CIA, but in this one, he's active. That's his whole point, is to find Stitch. So realize, in the original one, he wasn't chasing after Stitch. He was basically watching over Nani, making sure that she got things done so she could keep custody of Lilo. And going on to the second point, there was no emotional connection between him, Lilo, and Nani. In the original one, which messed up an iconic scene where you could really see him get tearful because that Lilo can't stay with Nani. And that's the scene where he puts Lilo in the car and she's listening to conversation outside. And that's when he said, you need Lilo more than Lilo needs you. And that's when Lilo ran into the forest, right? No. So guess what? Lilo gets taken, but it don't make sense. This version don't make sense at all. Okay. But okay, let me stay on point. But yeah, they just like a lot of things didn't make sense. Like they kept Goldberg Rubber. At least his personality was the same, but his purpose in the film was just totally different, and it was on my nerves. And then what really got me mad was when Lilo was taken by Jumba. He acted like he didn't care. Like at first he was just gonna drive away and let them just suffer like that. And the thing is, he went on a search hunt for Lilo, but he wasn't even looking for Lilo. He was looking for Stitch. Like they had him have no heart. Jumba, well, they didn't keep his personality because Jumba, I mean not Jumba, Cobra had a heart, man. He actually had love for Nani and Leela, and he wanted them to stay together. So the fact that they just took away that part, and it was really important, especially to have a black man be so involved with it. You know what I'm saying? So they kept some of his lines the same, but of course I changed a lot. And let's just say when they showed that first scene with him, when they were focusing on him being CIA, just realize they had like 3 agents that talked in the stereotypical science fiction agent talk, and had that one scene and like disappeared for the rest of the movie. And you heard the female's voice on the walkie-talkie like one time afterwards. Like that was it. That was it. And like I was like, that was a waste of time adding them 3 characters for no reason. But you couldn't get uh uh Guntu in there, but you put these 3 characters that had no purpose. They didn't have names. They're just agents. That's it. If you look at IMDb, they're just agents. Agent 1, 2, and 3. That's it. I think CIA, bro. But yeah, that oh my gosh, that hurt my heart. Number 7, iconic moments and lines were taken out completely or just ruined. There were a lot of scenes like the Pud scene in the beginning, the opening scene with Lilo, right? So you're telling me, oh, I'm sorry, y'all. You're telling me that you're gonna take out the very scene where she talks about the peanut butter, and realize if you look at the sandwich, it got lettuce in it. I said, this ain't a peanut butter sandwich. That's when it messed up. I was waiting for that scene. I said they messed up. And then when the social worker come by, you telling me you're not going to have? They tried the record player part, but I was like, what about the nails in the dough? Y'all could get the nails in the dough. Y'all could have had her kept the original dialogue when Nani was directing her. Why didn't you keep the original dialogue? The original dialogue, the new dialogue was semi-funny, but mostly not. And since y'all love putting voodoo and witchcraft and stuff, y'all could have still had her do the voodoo dolls. My friends need to be punished. Man, I was waiting to see that part. Yes, I'm a Christian, but that part was funny. That was funny. And when she looked at Agent Bubbles, my friends need to be punished. Like, oh my goodness, the tone, bro. Now, and the iconic scene at the end where Cobra and the dang, I can't remember her name, but the one the leading the operation to find Stitch. They didn't have the whole thing where she signed the certificate saying that Stitch was her dog, and you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Like, they cut out all the iconic stuff from that scene. And I'm like, oh, bro, y'all messed up for real. How you not going to have those lines? And then the iconic lines they did have in the film, they messed up completely. The iconic scenes. Okay, let's talk about the surf scene. And then they're supposed to be in their alien form, but Jamba and Pleakley are in their human form, and it's just on a jet ski. And bro, that was really stupid. And then Stitch was supposed to be feeling Lilo down, but for some reason he was on top of Lilo. Like, it didn't make sense. I was like, come on, y'all. Come on. I guess they couldn't redo the scene because it did. Like, come on. It just. And then they got Lilo out, and again, she didn't drown in the original one. So instead of going from that straight to the one where Agent Bubbles Cobra had to basically take Lilo. That was what the next thing was, what the house being caught on fire and stuff, right? Well, they have Lilo almost drowned. Then they get her the water. You can see she's conscious, perfectly fine. They take her to the hospital. Why would you take her to the hospital? That doesn't make sense. Why did they take her? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm really. Y'all see I'm passionate about this. Why they take her to the hospital? I'm really confused. Why did they take Lilo to the hospital? They had no reason to take Lilo to the hospital, but they took Lilo to the hospital. Why did they? That didn't make sense whatsoever. Why is Lilo in the hospital? And then there's the healthcare thing. Oh wow, yeah. There's the healthcare thing. Oh, I'm gonna need your healthcare. Now, if you go to the hospital, they're not gonna bring it to you like that. You signed papers in the beginning, knowing this. Then you sign papers out. Realize they're charging your healthcare from the time you get in the hospital. They're not gonna tell you afterwards. Then he just say the director. He said his mother was in social work, and I said your mama's in social work, and you wrote something this stupid. You disrespected your mama, sir. Mr. Dean, if you ever hear this, you disrespected your mother. I would never. My mother does life insurance policies for a living. She's getting the health care. So y'all who need a life insurance policy or health care, please DM me. I'll lead you to my mom. She will set you up good. She gonna get you a good insurance policy that's gonna cover you. So if you are in need of insurance policy, and once she gets her AHIP certification and health insurance, please hit me up. I will lead you to my mama. I do not know her insurance website. She gonna get me. I don't know her insurance website, but I will get you that information. Mama, I'm doing the ad for you. So yeah, but back to the thing. How could your mama be in health and a social worker, and you disrespect her like that? What other iconic scene, bro? Firstly, part of the iconic scenes in there were with Gantu in the first place. So how you not gonna have him? And he has some of the most iconic scenes. A prime example is the scene where he takes Stitch, but and it ends up getting Lilo. Well, in this one, instead of it, Lilo sinks onto the ship through the portal thing, which didn't exist in the original one. Like, they created a whole portal gun just at the end. Uses it significantly though. And that's the last thing, the end. Oh my goodness. So the end of the film. Okay, y'all had me thinking the end of the film was much worse than it was. But it really wasn't. It really wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. Now, they failed the assignment with this film. The whole point of the film was for the sisters to stay together. That was literally the whole purpose. Literally, the entire purpose of the film. Well, one of them. The other was for a alien creature created for evil to become good. That's the other one. They barely focused on that. They were so focused. And when I say, oh, okay, I gotta go back to 7. Because, okay, what about the iconic scene when Lilo and Stitch talking and you see the ugly duckling, right? I'm lost. You remember that? And then when he leaves, he takes the book. He says, I'm lost. And he talks about needing a family and searching for a family. And then the Ohana speech, they did it all wrong, man. They did it all wrong. They messed it up, and they were trying to be funny with the refrigerator door, but it wasn't. It messed up one of the most iconic lines in the entire film, bro. And it messed it up so bad. I'm like, this is this is literally the centerpiece of the film. This is the core. This is the basis. Like Dom Toretto say, it's all about that family, man. I mixed that with Smokey. I mixed Dom Toretto and Smokey. That's like if Smokey was Dom. But y'all get what I'm saying. The whole point is Ohana is family. I love y'all. Y'all my Ohana. You know? But yeah, man, that really disappointed me. Like, bro, y'all messed up the scene. But back to number 8. Okay, it wasn't. They felt the assignment. It was to keep the whole point of the film was to keep the sisters together. And they did do that whatsoever. Okay, granted, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it should have ended just like the original. Just like I said earlier in the episode, when we go see live action films based off of animated ones, we go expecting to see the same ending as we saw in the animated one. That is the goal. That is the purpose of the film. I go in expecting to see what I saw in the original one. No, ain't no if, buts, maybes, and nevers. Okay, that's it. But you know, and I want to go back to the portal gun. They used that in the end for Nani to leave her dome to come visit Lilo. And that's when they have Agent Cobra Bubbles. At least they had Agent Bubbles become a part of the family like they did, but they added Toot Toot to basically adopt Lilo. And from what I understand, is that Toot Toot is David's grandmother. And I gotta say, the girl who played Lilo, she was great. She was excellent. Her family must have had her watching this movie over and over again so she could get it right. I tell you. Now, Nani, I blame the director. I think her portrayal could have been so much better because it didn't feel like she gave her all in when saying those lines. David, same thing. They cut him short. They cut David short so bad. And they even messed up that iconic scene where they go surfing and stuff. And it's for like job training. And it's like, they messed up so much. Okay, so here's my rating on the live action Lilo and Stitch. I give it 3 out of 10 in a D minus. I think those are worthy gradings for how they did not execute it properly. Because it didn't meet the assignment. It took out all the iconic stuff, and the iconic stuff it messed up miserably. It took out key characters, key scenes, and added unneeded characters that really built nothing to the story whatsoever. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was barely hitting good, but it wasn't bad. And would I watch it again? If someone hasn't seen it, yes. I would rather put on the original Lilo and Stitch film than to watch this. I'll be honest. It's not all bad, but I think if they had stopped trying to put their own mark on it and just keep to what the fans wanted. The thing is, with any franchise, whether if it's based on a television show, based on an animated movie, or something that's just beloved, period, you can't just put any random writer. You have to put writers who are fans. Like, one thing about me and my brother and things that we write based on franchises and shows and books we love, we're fans. And we go through and read the books. We go through and watch the movies. We go through and watch the episodes of the shows, so that we can get an accurate portrayal of the characters, accurate portrayal of the story altogether, and what it means to the fans. Because you can't make something that's meant for the fans of it if you're not a fan, and you can tell that neither writer nor the director are fans of it. I would prefer the director to be a Polynesian or Hawaiian dude than the vert dude they chose, because at least he would have got closer to the culture than he did. But if I say at least watch it one time, study the original film, and then watch this one, and just be like, anyone to take their kids who were not alive when it was the original one, make them watch the original one. And just school them on it. That's really all you can do. And so yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. If there's anything more, I might have a part 2, but I just have to just share all that. It was disappointing. Part of me wanted to just stop watching and just leave, but I kept on watching and picked up everything, took notes of everything. And just, yeah, this is the verdict. It's a B minus, 7 out of 10. I never have expectations of anything, but I've had high expectations for this, and it didn't work out great. But go check out this movie. You already seen it. What do you rate it? What do you think about it? What did you pick up on it that I didn't pick up? And what do you think the writers could have done, and directors could have done, other than have a better director, and writers? But please hit me up on Instagram, at the Nerdy KP. Hit me up on Facebook at KP Sema, and TikTok the same as Facebook. And please just You can come on the podcast and DM me. But yeah, this is it's insane. Um, that I finally got these podcasts out, and I'm so thankful for all the support and all the people who have really pushed me to do this, and to those who do listen to it. To the few that do, and I honestly don't care if nobody listens to it. I'm gonna keep on producing these episodes. I'm gonna keep on reviewing books and talking about my games, and talking about Jesus regardless. Much love to each and every last one of y'all. Um, love y'all so much, and to y'all, keep on nerding on. Regardless of what anyone say, if you love anything nerdy and stuff, now it's cool to be a nerd, but keep on doing what you do. Let me know what else I should watch, review, play. But much love, peace, and joy to y'all. Bye bye. See y'all in the next one.